For 6 long months, exactly at 3:15 in the morning, my husband would stand over my side of the bed in the pitch-black darkness. He wouldn't say a word. He wouldn't touch me. He would just stand there, watching me sleep. I didn't know if he wanted to kill me or kiss me. This went on until the night I finally gathered the courage to pretend I was asleep. And what I heard him whisper in the dark that night, it didn't just break my heart. It shattered my entire world. My name is Rose Miller. People around here call me Grandma Rose. I've seen 89 winters come and go. I was born in a small shack in Alabama back in 1936. I've lived a life that most young folks today wouldn't believe if I told them. But every word I am about to share with you is the honest truth. The Lord is my witness. I have no reason to lie, not at my age. Before I begin, I have a small favor to ask. If you want to help an old woman share her truth, please press that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you know. And tell me in the comments, where are you listening from? I love reading about all the places my voice can reach. Now, let me take you back to where it all started. I married Jacob Miller in the autumn of 1958. It wasn't a romance like you see in the pictures. Our fathers were farmers who thought joining our families made sense for the land. Jacob was a hard man. Not cruel, mind you, but hard. Like the earth we tilled. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and quiet. He worked from sunup to sundown and expected me to do the same. We lived in a drafty farmhouse miles away from the nearest town. No electricity, just oil lamps, no running water, just a pump in the yard. I cooked on a wood stove and washed our clothes in the creek. We had 3 beautiful daughters. The eldest was Mary. Then came my sweet Sarah, and finally little June. Jacob wanted sons, of course. Every man back then did. But we were blessed with girls. Jacob and I, we didn't have much affection. He never held my hand. He never said, I love you. He provided food, I kept the home, and that was the agreement. I thought that was just how life was. You work, you survive, you die. I accepted it. Until that strange winter in 1969. It started in January. Jacob had been acting strange, restless. He would come home from town with dirt on his boots and a shadow in his eyes. Then the night visits began. The first time it happened, I thought I was dreaming. I woke up in the sound of a floorboard creaking. The old house always made noises, but this was different. I opened my eyes just a crack. The moon was shining through the window, casting a pale light across the room. And there he was, Jacob, standing right beside my pillow, looking down at me. I froze. My blood turned to ice. Was he sleepwalking? Was he sick? He stood there like a statue for 10 minutes. Then he silently turned and got back into his side of the bed. The next morning, I asked him, Jacob, were you up last night? He looked at me over his coffee cup, his face like stone. No, he said. You were dreaming, Rose. But I wasn't dreaming. It happened the next night. And the night after that. I started watching the clock, 3:15 a.m. every single night. It became a torture. I stopped sleeping. I lost weight. My hands would shake while I was peeling potatoes. My daughters noticed. Sarah, my middle child, she was 10 years old then, sharp as a tack. She asked me, Mama, why are your eyes so red? I lied to her. Just allergies, baby. But she knew. Children always know. I started to fear for my life. You hear stories about husbands who snap. I thought maybe he was planning to smother me with a pillow. I started hiding a kitchen knife under my mattress. I prayed to God every night, Lord, protect us from whatever evil has entered this house. Then came the night that changed everything. August 14th. I remember the date because the heat was suffocating even at night. I decided I wouldn't sleep. I would fake it. I lay there, breathing slow and steady, counting the seconds in my head. 3:10 a.m., 3:13 a.m., 3:15 a.m. The bed springs groaned. He was getting up. I kept my eyes shut tight. I relaxed my jaw. I let my hands go limp. I heard his heavy footsteps cross the room. I felt his presence looming over me. I smelled the tobacco on his clothes. He stood there for a long time. My heart was hammering against my ribs so hard I thought he'd hear it. Then I heard a sound I never expected. He sniffled. Jacob Miller, the man who never showed an ounce of emotion, was crying. He fell to his knees beside the bed, and he began to whisper. "I'm sorry, Rose," he choked out. "God forgive me, I didn't mean to do it." I stayed perfectly still, listening. The Colonel. He wouldn't take no for an answer. Jacob whispered to the dark. "I lost it all, Rose. The money, the savings, $4,500 gone." My stomach twisted. $4,500, that was a fortune. That was everything we had. But what he said next made me wish I had died right there in that bed. "He said he'd take the farm," Jacob sobbed quietly. Unless I gave him Sarah. Sarah, my 10-year-old daughter. "I promised him," Jacob whispered. "When she turns 16, she belongs to Colonel Vance to settle the debt." God help me, I sold our daughter. I waited until he got back into bed and fell into a fitful sleep. Then I opened my eyes. The tears were streaming down my face, hot and angry. He hadn't been watching me because he wanted to kill me. He was watching me because he was carrying the guilt of a monster. He had gambled away our money, and to save his own skin, he had promised our child to a wealthy, cruel old man. Colonel Vance was the richest man in the county. He was 60 years old, and my husband had promised him my little girl. I didn't sleep a wink. As soon as the sun peeked over the horizon, I got up. I felt a strength I didn't know I had. It was the strength of a mother lion. I went to the kitchen and made coffee. I called the girls. "Get dressed," I told them. "Pack a bag. We're going to visit your Aunt May in the city." "Now, Mama?" Sarah asked. "Right now." When Jacob walked into the kitchen, looking tired and gray, I was standing there with the bags packed. He looked at me, and he saw something in my eyes he had never seen before. He stopped. "Rose?" he asked. "What's going on?" "I heard you," I said. My voice was calm, deadly calm. His face went pale. "Heard what?" "I heard you last night at 3:15 a.m. I heard about the money. I heard about the Colonel." I took a step toward him, and I heard about Sarah. Jacob collapsed into a chair. He put his head in his hands. "Rose, I had no choice. He was going to kill me." "You always have a choice," I spat. "You chose yourself over your child." I picked up the kitchen knife from the table, not to use it, but to show him I meant business. "I am taking the girls," I said, "and I am going to Colonel Vance's house, and I am going to tell him that if he ever looks at my daughter again, I will burn his mansion to the ground with him inside it." "You can't go there, Rose," Jacob pleaded. "He's powerful." "A mother's rage is more powerful than any rich man's money," I told him. I left him sitting there, crying in his coffee. I took my girls. We walked 3 miles to the main road. We hitched a ride to the city. I did exactly what I said. I went to a lawyer. I told him everything. I threatened to go to the newspapers. Colonel Vance, for all his money, was afraid of a scandal. He backed off. He tore up the debt, afraid of what a crazy mother might do. I never went back to Jacob. I scrubbed floors. I washed dishes. I raised my 3 girls alone in a small apartment. It was hard. We were poor, but we were safe. Sarah grew up to be a teacher. She married a good man who loves her. She has children of her own now. She never knew the bargain her father made until she was a grown woman. Sometimes I look back at that young woman I was, scared, obedient, living in the dark. And I thank God for those nightly visits. Because if Jacob hadn't been so eaten up with guilt that he confessed in the dark, I might never have known until it was too late. Ladies, listen to me. If your gut tells you something is wrong, it is. If the hair on the back of your neck stands up, pay attention. And never, ever let anyone make you believe you are crazy for protecting your own. My name is Grandma Rose. I saved my daughter, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. If this story touched your heart, please leave a comment below. Have you ever had to make a hard choice to protect your family? I read every single one. And remember, subscribe for more stories from my journal. God bless you all.